Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a very crazy, amazing day. I actually have to look at my calendar right now to actually see what day it's March 25th. We've lost a little track of time. I do know that it's 1 month away from my birthday, which I'm now I think going to be celebrating in solitude and quarantine. Um, if you're listening to this live, I want to first offer you, and for the next hour, be a voice of hope and excitement, motivation, and inspiration. I have a very unique take on life. I always have. As I'm looking at my 60th birthday, I've been around the block one or two times, and maybe will be comforting. I have a bunch of guests who are going to join us a little bit, but right now it's just me and you. And I want you to take a moment and take a big breath in and a big breath out. There seems to be a new normal. Yeah. Life is definitely never going to be the same. And that's not a good or a bad thing. I think one of the things that I want to do at the moment is to help alleviate some sense of stress. Here's the thing. People get sick every day. I've looked at statistics that never touched me before about how many people die from heart disease and diabetes every year. It's in the hundreds of thousands of people, which we are not looking at the moment. At the moment, we're looking at the people who are dying from coronavirus, which seems horrific. It attacks your lungs. If you've ever not been able to breathe, I am actually personally in fear of the disease. I was born a premature baby and I've always had a little bit of lung issue. When you cannot grasp for air, it is probably the most painful, horrific thing possible. So if you're within the sound of my voice, like every influencer is being asked to do, stay at home, stay isolated. And that's where I want to focus for a second. See, I've worked from my house for most of my life. I've always had a home office. I have a remote office, but it's my personal office. I've never worked for anybody. And I've always set up a command central. And I'm not physically necessarily, aside from not having to get on planes, not noticing how devastating this is because I don't go to work every day outside of the house. I think the thing that you want to take stock of right now is to find your own sense of groundedness and a sense of calm. What does it mean to be in your home? I have to tell you, in the last week, I've done something I haven't done. I've lived in this particular house for 6 years. I went into almost every drawer and every cabinet and cleaned them, reorganized them, just made it better. I would have never in my entire life done that until I moved to my next house because I have no time. That's what I would say to myself. As we all say, I have no time. Now, I also don't have a lot of income coming in, and I need to be very clear with you that my income stopped as well when this all happened. I am also seeking to find new ways to serve people so that I actually make money, whether it's online or however we want to be doing this. But I'm not sitting here from a place of, oh, it's amazing privilege. It's a little scary that not having income coming in. I will tell you something that always struck me. And again, no one wanted to listen to any of these messages before. So if this is interesting to you, I'm very willing and happy to share it. I've been working since I was 16 years old. I come from no money at all. My parents were blue collar workers. My dad was a machinist. And when I was in high school, he had a horrific accident, sliced off the front of his hand. And my beautiful, beloved dad spent 3 years in the hospital on an in and out. He had 15 operations. One of them, which is the weirdest, most bizarre operation I've ever seen, is they sliced open his other tricep, which is the upper part of your arm, and stuck his hand inside of his other arm so the skin could graft on top of his palm. Yeah, I've seen a lot, I've been through a lot. But what it did for us was it stopped our family income. And so while I was in high school, we had no income. We only had savings. And my parents were pretty good about that, considering. And so I learned to pretty much live with not a whole lot. And it was fascinating. And so I started working when I was 16, and I've always worked. And I never understood that word retire, because I also found work that I love. I've always done things that have stretched my mind and gotten me out to help other people. I will always, on some level, work, whether that is teaching young children or being on the radio or wherever I happen to be, because if you love what you do, and they say this, then you never work a day in your life. Well, I can't imagine not being able to connect to you or being on the internet or making new fitness products. By the way, I'm going to do a very loud announcement for my spin gym. That's at spingym.com. It is and still is the most amazing at-home fitness workout program. I now do class for free. If you want to join me tomorrow or any day until this is all over for free, I'm at www.Forbes Riley Fit Club. Yeah. It happens every day at noon Eastern. Please write that down. www.forbesrileyfitclub. And what we do is I've got a core group of people who've been students and friends and fans of mine forever. We spend the first couple of minutes of this 45-minute togetherness time talking, venting. And I will tell you what's come out of this. Let me tell you who shows up. People who have been through a lot. I've got one girl who's taking care of her two Alzheimer's suffering parents right now, and it's challenging for her. I have another dear friend who's recovering 9 months from cancer. I have another one who buried two wives along. And by the way, there's no requirement. You don't have to have horrible things happen in your life to show up. You can have a perfectly happy life and show up. I would love that. I haven't met that person yet. I've got Cindy, who not only lost her husband to cancer, but lost her son and his girlfriend to a motorcycle accident. Let me tell you something. What you're hearing is that everybody's had a level of suffering in their life. And I'm going to ask you to go to YouTube and seek out something called Forbes Riley and the word obstacle. And you'll see one of my most watched videos that really talks about that you are the sum of the obstacles you overcome. For those of us, and I'm firmly planning to be one of those, who survives this COVID-19 craziness, I will be one who survives, and you get a choice to survive as well. If it doesn't make you, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. We'll have amazing stories to tell our kids and grandkids, and that's how you want to look at this. You are alive at the moment in the most remarkable time in the history of our planet. We are more, not that plagues haven't happened before. If you go your history and look at Black plagues and other plagues, people are dying everywhere. The universe or our Earth has experienced this before. But we've never been so connected before, where we can actually see other countries, see videos, talk to each other, so that we're not alone. We have access to more amazing things than we've ever had before. And I want you to respect the time that you are here and say, wow, this is extraordinary. Life will never be the same. You don't get to go back in anything in life. You don't get to go, oh, remember the old days when. No, there are no old days when. There is looking for the future. So in your home, and by the way, if you're lucky enough to have a home, you're lucky enough. I've lived in a 400 square foot apartment in New York City on 57th Street. I have, knock on wood, never been homeless, but I did travel around Europe with a backpack. I did sleep outside a train station. I did sleep in a cave. I've had some pretty extraordinarily crazy experiences. If you have a roof over your head, count your blessings right now and say amen. There's a lot of people out there who have children, who don't have a home, who might be living in their car, who are freaked out right now. You want to be able to bend down and give out and help other people. I know a lot of our local food services, I heard that a couple of pizza parlors were giving teenagers food, which was amazing, and or pizzas and all the kids who go to school needing food every day. It is one of the craziest times we've ever been on Earth. I want to welcome Kim Seltzer to the program at the moment. Kim, I want you to do me a small favor. I want you to join in. I'm going to actually mute my own microphone. Are you there, my darling?
I am here. Should I
Hey, how are
reveal
you?
myself?
I want you to take a moment. I've actually got a little bit of an emergency in my house right now. Not a big thing, but I want you to take the mic for about 2 or 3 minutes. Tell everybody who you are, what you're up to, some words of inspiration, and I know you can do this, and I will be right back.
Oh, no problem. I hope everything's okay. Hi, everyone. I am Kim Seltzer. And for those of you who don't know me, I am actually a dating and makeover expert. And I draw upon my experience as a therapist to do an outside in approach and helping people look and feel their best so that they attract what they want. And really, and especially in the light of what we are all going through, it's all about love. I always tell people, even before all of this happened, it's not about the man, it's not about the woman. It really is about you. So it's about building self confidence, self love, and really, finding that within so that you attract what you want, what you deserve. And so I was so excited to hop on today and talk to your audience, Forbes, about just what's going on in the world of dating and love and relationships. It's a really interesting time right now. Obviously, I'm getting a lot of people kind of asking me, oh my gosh, Kim, should I put my dating life on hold? I just don't feel like being flirty. I don't feel like dating right now. I can't meet anybody out. What do I do? And so people, are wondering about putting their lives on hold when it comes to love. And what I want to share with you today is and give you a little motivation is that that's absolutely the wrong thing to do right now. In fact, never before have we seen so many people connect in ways that we haven't. You know, we, I, and this is some of the benefits and the things that I'm finding out there, just to put a little shed of light on things, is that I'm finding that people are meeting more than ever before online. I was joking the other day, it's like my introverts are in heaven right now because this is their element, right? And so all the extroverts, or the people who are out and about, are kind of on the same, playing level as the introverts, and collectively we're all learning how to communicate. The other thing that I'm finding is that a lot of the conversations and connections that are being made are starting with more vulnerability, more authenticity. I mean, if you think about it, before all of this happened, hi, I was just giving everyone an inspiration about just what's happening in the dating world right now and in
Oh,
love and relationships, and just all the benefits that are actually happening. I wanted to start with a light of hope for people, is that, never before, and this is what I was saying before you hopped on, have we seen so many people connect in a more vulnerable, authentic way. All the barriers are down. I mean, look at all the celebrities that are hopping in, on the talk shows. We see their homes, we see them without makeup. Like, we're all kind of leveling at this, off at the same plane. And there's something beautiful about it. We're also starting conversations with emotions and feelings, rather than these kind of formal Q&A sessions where there's this disconnection. So there's a lot of cool things happening, and I'm getting a ton of emails from my clients how they're meeting people online left and right, and having great interactions, and actually starting relationships online.
you know what? I love your thought and I love your perspective. I was saying this to my daughter. You can't enjoy this. That's not a fair thing to say. But you have to, on some level, enjoy life. And while you have it, so I'm going to say yes, I am relishing seeing celebrities at their homes without their makeup. Never before would this have even been possible. I'm relishing not having to fight to get on an airplane. I just was going through my dailies. I've been traveling for the last 2 years like a crazy woman, and I don't get to do that. I wake up in the morning and now I don't have to go, do I want to go to the gym? No, the gym's in my house. And in fact, Kim, you should join us. I started doing about 2 weeks ago a daily class at noon. It's called Forbes Riley Fit Club. You should write it
Oh
down.
my gosh, I'm going to do it. I'm
It has
totally
been
doing it.
extraordinary. I will tell you that it's a better experience if you have a spin gym, because with this crazy little device, we get sweaty in 10 minutes, like dripping sweat. And so it's not necessary that you have it, but I can tell you, I love the people who do. So if you
I
want,
love it.
yeah, I think you have one, don't you? It's probably lying around somewhere in a drawer.
I'm sure I do somewhere, but now
Right,
you're
which is
you're
what most people.
inspiring me.
This is the funniest thing. So most people that I've been in contact with, like, oh yeah, I've got it in a drawer somewhere. Like, great, now is the time to take it out. I've been preaching and doing class forever. Right now, I'm doing class completely for free, and we were having a blast. This morning we started out with "Fun, Fun, Fun" by the Beach Boys, and like I said, your best fighting against this is to stay positive. I'm a student of history. That was my minor. And you study the Holocaust and you look at people who are watching their loved ones being thrown into an oven in front of them. Okay, let's get real about how bad and weird life can be. And one of the lessons that you learned is the people who survived were happy. So I'm going to urge everyone to find their level of happiness. And what you just said about people being more vulnerable, being more authentic, being out there, I'm kind of loving it. I watched Jenna Elfman this morning, and she's an old friend of mine. She just delighted me, no makeup on, talking about the range of emotions that she was going through in a day, from feeling like you can conquer the world to being upset, to wanting to cry, to wanting to be happy, to being grateful. It's like, wow, this roller coaster. Kim, how are you personally experiencing all that's going on?
And this is what I was starting to talk about. It's interesting for entrepreneurs like me and you, who I know you travel probably a lot more than I do, and I do my fair, thing of travel, but every day has been kind of the same for me, right? Like, I do what I keep doing, but what's different is what's going outside around me. And I'm just, right now, my goal is to serve as many people and provide as much support as I can. I mean, again, just like the beauty that's coming from this is creating just more communities with people, reconnecting with family members. Like last night, I actually had a family gathering. We have never done that before. I have family all over, and we did a Zoom family gathering. I have clients who are doing Zoom dates, who are having so much fun. My client in Seattle actually had a Zoom date with a guy that she's building a relationship with online. She hasn't even met him, and they went to a dance class together online, and they're having so much fun. So I've had to just renegotiate what this all means, and there's actually a lot of beauty that's coming out of this. Obviously there's a lot of challenges, but it's what you said. It's your perspective. Like, we can take all of this and look at it as like a victim mentality or a scarcity mindset, or we can look at this as a state of abundance, and what kind of opportunities and connections can we create out of all of this.
Oh, absolutely. This is what's interesting, is that there is no food shortage. There's a shortage of people helping to move food.
Right.
But when I see things totally scarce in the supermarket, I'm like, you guys need to, number one, thank goodness they started putting in, you can only get 2 of something.
I know.
That just makes a whole lot of sense. I can't believe that we needed to do that. But there's all levels of people in the world. And as an entrepreneur, I am enjoying this. I'm enjoying being home with my family. I'm enjoying trying to find a new normal. You and I have I've been using Zoom since the day it came out.
I know.
Right. But people wouldn't listen. They were like, no, this is just how we do business. Well, guess what? Things are different. And I am relishing this time, again, in a wonderfully selfish way, that I do get to serve people. It's really kind of fun. It's like they woke up and said, wow, we want to come to Zoom parties and Zoom. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yes. And you can work from your home. And so now offering as much advice and even the workouts at home. This has been, and you just have to count your blessings. Everything that's positive. Let me tell you something. I've had lung issues. If you are on a ventilator right now and you're fighting for every breath, you need to be grateful for the fact that you're not. Now that's where all it has to start. And every morning, my level of gratitude has exponentially grown. We are right now heading off into a break. I want to exponentially thank my sponsors for keeping the show on the air, and also give a big shout out to my entire crew. There's a whole crew in Arizona who are going into work to make these broadcasts possible. So I want to acknowledge them, thank them, bless them and their families, and we'll see you back in just a few minutes right here on the Forbes Factor. Don't go away. All right, my darling, we are still live on Facebook and on
All
YouTube,
clear.
so you know. Thank you.
Awesome.
So is your family at home?
Yes, we're at home. We're safe. I had done some traveling right beforehand. I had a speaking gig, and we got back right when everything started happening. And yeah, it's wild here. I'm in Santa Monica, California, and we are definitely like, we're supposed to stay home. They're actually starting to fine people. If you are seen like, in crowds on the beach. I don't know if you saw the news. I mean, people were going to the beach.
I live in Florida on the beach. So I will say that, being young and dumb is unfortunate, and they were. But I think it's also a sense of denial. Unless somebody's shooting at you, you can't see this silent killer. You don't really get it. So I'm not going to blame them. But I will also urge all the officials to say, look, they closed our beaches in Florida because of that incident. It's like, don't close the beach. The beach is probably one of the safest, most amazing places for people to get out of their home by themselves or with their family members and have a moment of sanity. So again, these knee-jerk reaction of people is what's disappointing me.
I agree. Yeah. I think there's just, I think really the real virus right now is fear. Honestly. And I think that's something that we all need to talk about, like how, we can't see the invisible enemy as everybody's calling it, but we can tackle fear. And that is one thing that I think all of us can really wrap ourselves around and each other. And how do we deal with that? How do we deal with the anxiety? And like what you just said is a defense. People are either in denial, or they embrace it, or they, forget about it, or, like there's so many ways of coping with that. So I think that's really the conversation. What are we all doing to cope?
Yes. And to also allow your emotions to come wash over you. And, there's like survivor guilt. Is it okay to be happy? I'm actually very happy today.
Yeah.
For the first week when all this was going down, I've always been kind of a 30,000 foot visionary. And I got very freaked out. My daughter came to me before all this started, like, Mom, this is going to get really bad. You should go to the store. And so I went to the store and it all looked fine. And so I stocked up on certain things, and you started to see the toilet paper issue. You're like, okay.
30 seconds.
Thank you. And then I took my son. I said, come to the store with me because I think things are starting to get weird. And he went out. Now, what's funny is I have a woman who works with me and she's like, there's nothing wrong. I'm like, no, there is going to be
15
something.
seconds.
Or we'll be back. Thank you. And now when you go to the store, obviously you see things have radically changed.
Yeah.
But for the first 2 weeks, I was very upset. But now that it's like leveled off and it's reality and everybody understands it, here we are.
You are listening to the Forbes Factor. To call in with a question or comment, please call 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. Or send an email to Forbes@ForbesRiley.com. Now back to the show. Here's Forbes Riley.
845. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Forbes Factor. What a momentous and crazy week. If you're listening to us live, we're in the middle of COVID-19, the coronavirus, which I think the world has now embraced as the most confusing time ever. I was going to say horrific, but that's not true. I think the most horrific was trying to get your head around people being thrown into ovens and gassed because of who they were. That's got to be the most horrific time. Or standing watching bombs drop on a ship in Pearl Harbor. That was a pretty horrific time. This you actually have some control over. And the way that you can control it is, one, by controlling your own emotions, your level of contact with others. That's within your control. You can choose to stay home. Now, when you choose to stay home, which is the smartest thing to do, at the moment, I've never been healthier. I'm taking my bite. Oh, by the way, I also have to promote something that you guys need to know about. Speaking of the Holocaust, for the last 50 years, my dear friend Charles Kessler, who I'm going to have on in just a little bit, has created a vitamin mineral drink, right? He's been doing this forever. It's the only product that his company makes. Right now, it's something you should take 2 times a day, because I don't care how many fruits and vegetables you eat. And if you're not, you need to be developing your defense system. The way to get it right now is go to Shop Forbes Riley and check out the 135 vitamins and minerals in this container. It is not a network marketing company. It is the lowest price you could imagine. It's one of the smartest investments that you can make. I think it's under $40. Literally, check this out and just start doing it. The second thing I'm going to say is that if you're at home, to keep your sanity, you need to move. Yay! All right, I've been moving forever, but that's just me. I created an amazing product called a Spin Gym. You've all seen it. Maybe you haven't. We had some pretty good naysayers the other day, and I'm like, dude, just try it. I got a money back guarantee. If you don't think it does everything I say it does, what it does is within 10 minutes, you can break out in a total body sweat. I'm giving away class for free. Come to www, and got to put the W's in, Forbes Riley, that's my name. Forbes is in money, Riley is in the good life. Forbes Riley Fit Club. Now, fit doesn't necessarily mean fitness. It means emotionally fit, spiritually fit, financially fit. How does your life fit together? The Forbes Riley Fit Club every day at noon on Zoom Eastern time. Kim, that would be 9 a.m. your time. I'm joined right now by Kim Seltzer, who is a beautiful shining light. She's out there in Santa Monica. How many, you have kids at home, yes?
I do. I have 2 sons. They're teenagers, so it's a different dynamic than like little kids.
But share with us what's going on. Because one of my blessings in the morning is to say I'm grateful. I used to really want my kids to be 6 or 8 years old again, because I missed that cuddling time. I'm grateful that they're not 6 or 8, because they can take care of themselves.
Yes.
I'd imagine parents with young kids right now are probably pulling out their hair. What's been your experience?
I was just going to say that I've been talking to friends who have like toddlers, and yeah, it's so different. I mean, it's a different kind of stress that they have. Everything's online right now, so they're still going to school. They wake up, they're going to their daily routine. They have to check in their classes. My senior, I'm a little bit sad about, because he can't visit his colleges. He might have to pick his college sight unseen. They're setting up virtual tours now, so to help with that. He might miss prom, he might miss graduation. So it's like all the milestones, that everybody looks forward to, he might not experience. So we're kind of having conversations around that and how to deal with that. So
that conversation, because I've got 2 17-year-olds, luckily they're juniors for this, but that conversation goes, baby, anytime you go to that thought, be grateful that you can't be drafted.
Right.
That's all I want to say. Because this isn't, you can be sad about no prom, you can be sad about college tours, but you are not being drafted to go kill people.
Yeah.
And so for that, I'm like,
it's a good reframe. Gratitude. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But, I think that the other thing that I'm finding, especially with my clients, being that, I'm in the dating space. So everybody's, kind of throwing out questions for me about what to do with their dating life. I love, there's almost like this juxtaposition that's happening. Like we have to keep moving and having an exercise routine and engaging in self-care, which obviously is important to dating anyway. But it's also time to slow down. And it's amazing to see when you have more time to really sit with yourself and focus on what it is that you want and who you are. And that I found was so difficult before when there was all that noise out there and too much movement where people were just kind of going out on dates and numbing out, Now people are really forced to sit with themselves and focus on what's important. And that's also been another beautiful thing that I've been seeing.
I totally get that. I actually have Linda and Charles online. I just texted you guys. I want you to call into our Zoom. We're talking about your amazing vitamin product, okay? Okay, hold on. All right. Well, trust me, they're in their 80s. And so, yeah, I mean, and this is, like I said, the only product that they produce. That's fascinating about the dating. So I'm very much in love with a gentleman, although I will tell you, and I don't know if you personally know this, but my Joshua, who's a world champion fitness competitor, you know, how weird for him, because he was ready to go do the Arnold when he got hit by a car at 45 miles an hour, spent, a couple of hours in a coma, woke up in the ICU, spent a week there, and he's been unable to walk. He's still in a wheelchair. It's now the end of March. This happened January 2nd. So we've had our own level of crazy wacko stressness. I listened to Michael Phelps today, something fascinating I hadn't really thought about. Again, the only way you can be I think gratitude is by also judging yourself against other people.
Yeah.
One, I'm judging myself. I've been in the hospital. I can remember a moment when I went through a kidney stone many years ago where I said, look, if I get through this pain and survive these 10 days, whatever, I will commit myself to helping you because this is horrible. But Michael Phelps was like, this is the year of the Olympics. Now think about this, about how to be grateful. Athletes who are, Olympics only happens once every 4 years. They have been training up until this moment. They're at their peak, ready to go for next couple of months. That's not happening right now.
Right.
I know, right? And you're like, oh my God, just
all these things, right? Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh. Now he actually talked today about anxiety and depression. He's retired with the most medals ever. But man, this was your big chance. This was your big hope. Where did they go? People who were so counting on that last vacation or being able to see their parents. I'm going to give a shout out to Chuck. He is one of my dearest friends. His mom's in a nursing home and she's older and she's got Alzheimer's. He can't see her. They can't talk on the phone. What is it that they're going to be doing? So for every other person out there that I'm going through anything right now, my heart is so full of love for them. And I love that you're supporting them. So in the dating space, what a phenomenal conversation you said people are having where they're just more honest. So if somebody is out there and they're not involved with somebody, share to me what that is going on. And then in second, we'll introduce Charles and Linda.
Yeah, well, I will say that just a couple tips that I've been sharing with people. The first step is really, again, what I said is focus on you. It's this opportunity to slow down, focus on what you want, what you're looking for, and even the way that you read profiles. If you've never been online dating, this is the time to go online. And if you can more wrap your head around it being something that is more about practice and maybe building skills like dating skills, social skills, things that were a problem before all of this happened, because there will be a day that, Noah's Ark lands and we'll hopefully all go out again. And what a beautiful time to practice these skills. And in efforts of practicing, people are making amazing connections. You can still practice flirting. You can still practice, having these deeper conversations with people. The second thing is you can progress on dates virtually, just like you did out in the real world. You can start with, oh my God, yes, there's something called a telephone. For all of you who don't know what that is, that's a little device, looks kind of like this. And Forbes, you know what I'm talking about? Like people were not using the telephone before. And now people are, it's like a reintroduction of the old school stuff. It's going back to the basics and actually talking to people on the phone.
Here's a crazy thing. You and I can actually have lunch right now. You're on one side of the country. This Zoom thing is as good as a dating services I've ever seen.
Right, exactly. I'm actually sharing my screen and I'm going over their Bumble profiles and I'm looking at their conversations. And I'm like, no wonder you didn't get asked out right here. You have to do a little more flirting. So there's a lot of fun things that are happening. And like I said, use the phone, use conversation, go to Zoom dates. And how amazing will it be when you actually do get to meet those people physically? It's almost like we're in foreplay right now. And then it's moving.
All right, well, I haven't heard Zoom being called foreplay. Thank you very much. It made me blush. And with that, I want to bring on to...
You heard it right here on Forbes Riley.
You know, actually, I'm assuming it could get even more interesting, but that's not going to happen on my program, at least not today.
Right.
Because I want to take a moment to introduce two very, very special, amazing, wonderful people in my life. Charles and Linda Van Kessler have embraced me many, many years ago. They surprised me. They didn't really know who I was, but they got a sense of my energy. Drove 3 hours up from San Diego to a class I was doing in Los Angeles and just changed my life. They have lived through a lot, they've seen a lot, and they have the most amazing product. You heard me talk about it a few minutes ago. It is available at Shop Forbes Riley. Please welcome and give a big round of applause for Linda and Charles Van Kessler.
Hey, gorgeous.
How are you?
We miss you.
Oh man, I miss you guys, but I'm seeing you right now. I'm giving you the biggest virtual hug.
Yep, us too.
So how are you guys? First of all, you've all seen a lot, and Charles, we'll go into your story in a second. But what's your take on all that's going on?
Well, you know, it's obviously something that we cannot control. However, we can make it better by strengthening the immune system as much as you can. With a real strong immune system that will protect you, it helps you against sickness, disease, viruses, etc., etc. Now, we're not telling people that a strong immune system will totally defeat coronavirus, but it will help you cope with it and to get better, and eventually your system will be able to deal with it.
So Charles, how old are you?
I'm 79 years young.
I love that. How long have you both been married?
Tomorrow, 15 years.
That is just so beautiful. So Kim, one of the reasons I want you to stay on the line is they are just the cutest couple.
Oh,
I can see that.
No, but you can see that, right? You can see that energy, and I want to
Yes.
know that secret sauce, and I'm sure you do too. But first, as a matter of course, I want to tell Charles, give us that short synopsis of your personal story about how you came all the way back to your product and what your life is about.
Okay, I was born in Amsterdam in 1941 during World War II. My family were all killed by the Nazis. I ended up in a state-run orphanage for 8 years, daily abuse. When I was 9 years old, I decided either commit suicide or run away. And thank God I chose the last one. I ran away, lived on the streets of Amsterdam for 2 years as a 9-year-old. Then I met an American family, God bless them, who arranged a green card for me. This is how I came to America. But my body and my mind were such a disaster for malnutrition and abuse that I started taking handfuls of vitamin pills, but it didn't work for me. So after 12 years of research and studying, I found that pills do not absorb properly, only 25% maximum. The rest goes to the toilet when people go to the bathroom. So I created, after many, many years, to keep a long story short, a product called Passion No. 4 Life, liquid vitamins and minerals, which have 135 high-powered, whole food-based ingredients that will take care of your body and your mind. You only take it once a day, 1 ounce. It tastes delicious, and it makes you look 59 when you're 79. And when people tell me that I look like 59, I say, no, that's my IQ. And then a portion, as you know, Forbes, a portion of every bottle is used to support Passion No. 4 Kids.org, which is a nonprofit charity for very needy children in this country that my wife, Linda, and I deal with hands-on every day.
All right, your story never stopped sending chills down my spine. Kim, is that pretty amazing to listen to and witness him in person?
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that. I just wondered, does the pill help with your relationship too? Like, I want to know that pill that you're doing.
No, but it's not a pill. It's actually his liquid vitamin. I'm going to tell you.
Oh, it's a liquid. Oh.
No, it's a big bottle of liquid vitamins. I'm going to go get it.
All I can tell you is, since you just a little response to that question, I can only tell you that a lot of people have said, who needs Viagra with this product?
Bingo, that's where I was going. going with that. And if you look young and
Men
yes,
and women, men and women.
All right, so Miss
Love it.
Linda, share a little bit of your story, how you come to all of this.
Well, my take, first of all, on this virus is I think it's a blessing, actually. I think God, in his kindness, has stopped us in our tracks from destroying ourselves and given us the chance to really rethink our lives, rethink our country, rethink our world, and, hopefully learn from it and change. So coming out of quarantine, we're different people.
Well, and I'm going to layer on top of that for a second. And I do want to add that, I don't know if you noticed, but around the world, animals are starting to swim in the Venice Canal.
Yep.
Monkeys are walking free. We are not flying as many airplanes. We're not driving as many cars. We don't have as many car accident deaths, which are a lot higher number than we all want to talk about. I mean, I don't know why we're not really sharing the numbers of diabetics that die every year or heart disease patients that they're in the hundreds of thousands. We don't talk about that, which is confusing to me. And I'm actually going to continue to make that message out there. I know we keep talking about right now we're in the hundreds of deaths from Corona, and it's horrible. I get it. But today we're also in the hundreds of deaths from heart disease, and Kentucky Fried Chicken is still promoting fried chicken between two glazed donuts.
Yeah.
So let me share with you that we are not doing all that we can for our society on any level.
Yep.
But I love that you said it's a blessing, and maybe it is God. We are literally having to stop the world. Let me tell you what kind of amazing power could turn off the lights in Las Vegas. And so I'm going to count it as a blessing too. And I'm so grateful that you said that. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going to let you.
No, that's okay.
No.
I worked at the White House for President Ford, and my dream since I was 8 years old was to work at the White House. And then at 20, I got to do that. And I worked with Billy Graham for many years, with Dr. Robert Schuller. And I was happily retired, and I met this man. And now I'm just tired.
The poor thing met me. The poor thing met me, Forbes.
Where did you guys meet? Because Kim is a relationship specialist.
It's going to blow your mind.
All right, go
Do
ahead.
you know the magazine, The Penny Saver?
Yeah, I remember the Penny
Yeah.
Saver.
Well, I had broken off a relationship with a lady that I bought a beautiful 2-carat diamond ring for. She broke it off, actually. And I put the ring in the Penny Saver. And Linda and her husband had just moved here. And her husband says, "Oh, look at this 2-carat diamond ring for $5,000. So they called me, and she heard my Dutch accent. And her father was from Holland too. So she says, "Come on by with this ring." She was not interested in the ring. She
All right,
just wanted
so
to
stop for
meet me.
1 second, guys. Hang on. We guys need to go to a commercial break right now. I let that go a little bit. When we come back, we're going to hear the story of how this beautiful romance actually happened. Did you actually steal her away from the guy wanting to buy her the diamond ring? I don't know if this is amazing. Be right back. My name is Forbes Riley. You're watching Forbes Factor. Don't go away. Oh my goodness, I love that. So hang on 1 second.
All clear.
When we come back. Thank you, my love, Mr. Andrew. I would like you guys also to meet Charles Thiessen. We are still live on YouTube and Facebook, just so you know. Charles, welcome to the party. Linda and Charles actually took one of my very first spin gym training classes. Will you tell them what we've been up to?
Linda, you want me to go or Linda?
Yeah, it's all you, Charles.
Well, thank you. And I'm sorry for joining in late here. What we've been up to is every day working out with Spin Gym. I know that. I've been taking care of business there every day at 12 with Forbes, making sure that we're keeping our finger on the pulse of everything that's happening in the country and helping people and being there for them and exercising.
So good. So you're on. A lot of people are listening to you right now. What are you up to? Tell us a little bit about between your love relationships. This is interesting. Kim is a relationship expert. Linda's got her spin gym. I love you, girl. You need to join us. I'm telling you, the whole world is going to have spin gym, and I don't have that many left. That's my issue right now. We have a limited stock. You go, girl. Charles, will you share your love relationship stories? What's happened? Because Kim needs to hear your story.
My love relationship story?
Come on, dude. You got.
Yeah, we all shared. Come on.
Yes. Okay. Well, 2008, my late wife passed, and about a year later, I was here in South Florida doing a bunch of networking events because that's what I like to do. And in one of those events was a lady who'd been divorced for 6 years, and she was praying for somebody that was 55 years old, an American guy, and a man of faith. And she said, "You fit the picture." And that was about 9 years ago now.
Wow.
But the post-traumatic stress from being a caregiver
20
for so many
seconds.
years, it took me a few years
20
to get
seconds.
things going. So now we're looking to tie the knot, get one of those 2-carat rings for $5,000. If you can help me get one of those, that'd be great.
It's in my safe.
And professionally, you know, for the last
You are listening to the Forbes Factor. To call in with a question or comment, please call 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. Or send an email to Forbes@ForbesRiley.com. Now back to the show. Here's Forbes Riley.
Hey everybody, welcome back to a very special edition of my radio show, my Forbes Factor show. It's also seen as a podcast. You can find us on iTunes and all the other platforms. But again, a big shout out to the whole team who is live producing this right now in Arizona. Thank you guys for being there and for all that you do. To my guest today, we're experiencing a very unique time in history. I'm also going to give a big shout out. Guys, all raise your spin gyms because, you know, between Linda and Charles and two Charles, we've got these things. Kim, I think you've got one. If you don't, you need to reach out to us.
I need
Well,
one.
if you need another one, shop Forbes Riley. They're on a discount. Use my code when you enter capital FORBES, and you'll get a great little discount because we are shipping them out every day. And I have a limited stock, so make sure that you get your favorite color. Before we left, we were talking about how Charles and Linda met. And if you heard the beginning of his story, what a phenomenal transition from coming from war-torn Austria all the way to the US, a crazy story. He's committed to helping charities. His product, you can find it on Shop Forbes Riley. I will stand that it is the best, most nutritional defense that you can do to build your immune system right now. My kids, my fiance, we all start every day with this. I gotta tell you, that's gonna keep you strong. That's how you're gonna win this war. But we were about to hear this crazy story about how the two of them met over a 2-carat diamond ring in the penny saver that her fiance found. I don't know. You guys take the story where it goes.
All right, my fiance broke it off in 2001, and she kept the 2-carat diamond ring. So I put it in the penny saver, $5,000, her best offer. Linda and her husband had just moved here a couple months earlier from New Jersey. Her husband saw the ad. He says, "Whoa, look at this." He says, "I don't need anything." And they just kept insisting. So she called and she heard my Dutch accent. And Linda's also partially Dutch. So she says, "Come on by with this ring." She wanted to see what them Dutchmen look like for, you know, haven't seen one for so long. And of course, make a long story short, they did end up buying the ring. And we became good friends, the family and I. And, you know, a year later, her husband died of a heart attack and we became better friends. And then, you know, we got married. So she was happily retired. Then the poor thing met me. Now she's exhausted.
Is that just the most beautiful story ever?
But she doesn't wear the ring. Okay. I had to buy her a 3-carat one, a new one.
As
Wow,
you should.
know, Joshua, you just asked me to marry him, girl.
No double dipping, she says.
That's actually very, very funny. What advice do you have for couples to stay happily together?
We're together 24 hours a day.
Give and take. Give more than you take.
Okay.
Oh.
And
You guys have been together for 24 hours since you guys met, yes?
yeah.
So
Well,
what's the
we've been
secret? Because a
married,
lot
yeah.
of us, did I say us out loud? A lot of people might have trouble hanging out with their significant others, but now they're confined with them. I need some actionable advice.
I think it's just to laugh a lot. We laugh all day long. We do silly things. We send each other love notes. We send each other little cards on the
Yeah.
you know, these card things online that you can send people.
So by the way, I'm a study of human nature, guys. Did you happen to notice until he just took it away? But Charles is sitting there, his arm is touching her. There
I
you
was
can
noticing that
feel
too,
the love.
yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
And we write live notes. You know, when I go in the car, sometimes I see he put a sticky note on my steering wheel, you know, have a great day. Or, you know, we do these things all day long because we want to remember what we love about each other, you know, and make that the focus of our relationship, not the differences, but what we, you know, what draws us together.
And
what
don't
drew us
argue.
together.
Never argue. You can disagree and discuss it. Never, never, never argue.
Well,
That's
wait
the
a
secret.
second. Okay, so I'm a little hot Jewish girl over here. We like to argue. What does that mean? Don't argue. What am I supposed to do?
Well, we kind of just, I mean, we step away and we think about it and we come back and then we try and work through the situation.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've been together a long time. So well, not long compared to some people, but for us, it's long. And we know each other very, very well. And we know what the triggers are and we know what not to do. And we try not to do it. You know, we try to look at the love angle of life.
So now you guys have also seen, how long have you been making this amazing vitamin product that I just think is the best in the world?
12 years.
So 12 years.
Yeah.
Charles Thiessen, why don't you ask them a question about their vitamin product, please? Because you came to me, we're in the health and business, you know, in that business, you come to Forbes Factor, ask them a question about this.
So are you the formulators of the product? And you showed it to me the other day,
sir.
Forbes, but that's all I know.
I'm the creator and the formulator. Yes, sir.
That's awesome. So what was the what was the idea? When did you start?
Well, I discussed before, I came out of an orphanage during the war in Amsterdam, Holland, 8 years of abuse. So I came to America and had a green card, and I was in such bad shape, physically, mentally, emotionally, still suicidal, that I took handfuls of vitamin pills that never worked. So I started studying and researching why they didn't work. And of course, the fact is that they don't absorb. 25% is absorbed, the rest goes in the toilet when people go to the bathroom. So many years later, after studying long times, I created this liquid vitamin product just for me. And I said, if this works for me, I'm going to share it with the world. And when it was created, I sent 1,000 bottles free all over the country to celebrities, athletes, doctors. The results were phenomenal. We still have Regis Philbin on it after all these years. Kevin Harrington, the original shark from Shark Tank, is on it, and many doctors are on it.
Forbes Riley's on it.
Yeah.
I've been on it since you guys started. Let me tell you, if I just read the bottle to you, because some of you can't see the visual, if you're watching on Facebook, hi, if you're on YouTube, hi, but it's got 135 minerals, vitamins, antioxidants, amino acids, fruits,
all food-based.
And it's got no GMOs, no wheat, no caffeine, no dairy, no artificial sweeteners, no added sugar. Let me tell you something. If Jack LaLanne were alive today, I'm going to bet that he would also do this, because you cannot juice enough fruits and vegetables to get what you guys have packed in here. So let me get a little bit more detail, because I've never really asked you this question. How do you get all of that in there?
It's a very delicate procedure that our major manufacturer in the US has all worked out over many years. It's a very delicate process. When I created the product, it took me 8 years when I decided to do it to actually have it together. It's mind-boggling. Yeah.
And I'm out here promoting it because not enough people know about it. You know, I walk down the aisles and I am a health and fitness expert. What does that mean? Is I've devoted a good portion of my life to understanding nutrition and fitness and how the human body reacts to that. And I see no milk, I see no eggs, I see no bread. And I'm thinking, I would never buy those anyway. There's not food. You know, I think what I actually want to start promoting here is how you can live on amazing, sustainable food and actually enjoy this. But no matter what your diet is at the moment, because I'm not a big fan of diets. For me, I have one word, DIET. I define it as decisions I eat today. So I get to live with Joshua Self, who is a world champion fitness competitor. I watched what he ate, the green beans, the broccoli and the Brussels sprouts and rice. And he did his last competition as a vegetarian. So I walked past in the grocery store the other day and there was a line inside the store for ground beef. It was a line. And I'm thinking, why are they doing that? If you actually, and here's an assignment for anybody listening to this, go to Netflix now while you're stuck at home and watch the movie, What the Health. Start to get educated about what you're putting in your body. My only fear about that is that you get a little too freaked out because a lot of the food that we're eating has all kind of questionable ingredients that we don't realize, we don't think about. But now I'm talking to a lot of my people out there, including one on Facebook who just said that, who are dealing with diabetes, cancer, heart disease. The coronavirus is just one of many things that might kill you and that will kill you. But we're not really touching on those things. So let me ask you a question, Linda and Charles. Why aren't we talking about those other things when they kill hundreds of thousands of people every year?
I think people are just in denial. They don't want to know. They don't want to make the lifestyle changes. I think they don't, just like the coronavirus for a while, it wasn't catching on the severity of it because people are just like, oh, well, it's not going to affect me until it affects them. And then it's too late, or then, there have to be drastic changes like with heart disease or with diabetes or whatever. And actually, if you go in the grocery stores right now, the interesting thing is the vitamin aisles are stocked and full.
They are stocked. I know.
What's up with that?
Well, I'll tell you what's up with that is that a lot of people don't have faith in a pill. And what Charles actually said is true. You don't know what's in a compound pill. Most of them, if they're not capsules, don't digest at all.
Yeah.
And so they don't have a lot of faith in that, and they have limited funds. And so they go back to what they think they know. I mean, I grew up on bologna sandwiches, white bread, cookies, and milk, okay? And Frosted Flakes. That was my diet as a kid. My mom was 260 pounds. I've committed myself to finding the truth about food. It's certainly not out there. You go down the cereal aisle, it's empty.
Yeah.
And people are under a delusion. It took us getting hit over the head to stop our world for this virus, but we're not stopping for other things. And I'm a little confused about that. Kim, what's your thoughts on this subject?
Yeah, I think it is. It's a big wake up call. I mean, I know even for myself, I've been, I was always eating healthy, but it's just forcing us to look at food in a different way and also not take for granted what we already have. I mean, how much food is wasted too, on top of it, and nutritious food. And I love all these like healthy choices that you're talking about. And so it's so important. And I think, and this is because I'm coming from a mental health standpoint, both the mind and the body are so intertwined and connected, as we all know. But like when you're paying attention to both your health, with the food that you're eating and the exercise that you're doing, like Forbes is saying, but also taking care of your mental health, taking care of the fear of the virus, as we were talking about earlier. Is the virus the fear of the virus? Like, it's almost like, which is it? But we can tackle that. It's how we cope with it. It's making good choices.
I am recommending a lot of, I'm a movie fanatic. I'm recommending not only do we watch What the Health, but that you also might want to watch The Matrix again to try to understand. No, I will tell you, I have a little spoon. There's a moment in The Matrix where the little boy turns to Keanu and says, is it really a spoon? Can you bend this with your mind? And I am loving a lot of what I'm remembering. And I watched it again to go, wow, there's an interesting conspiracy philosophy that a lot of what we see in movies is there to prepare us. I think that's when we meet finally ET or somebody from an alien, they're going to look a lot like what we've been looking at aliens because we've been preparing ourselves for a long time. There's a lot of movies about viruses out there. It's fascinating to me. I have 3 minutes left on my show. I would like a moment of inspiration from your point of view to everybody who's watching. We are seen around the world with hundreds of thousands of downloads. Charles, give me a moment of inspiration.
Well, this couple, Charles and Linda, I'll give you 2 more hints. When your wife is in the shower, you go put the towels in the dryer and give her warm towels for when she gets out of the dryer.
Nice one.
That's a nice one. That works.
I love that. And what's the second one?
When you wake up first thing in the morning, you say, honey, I'm sorry. And she'll say, for what? For whatever I'm going to do wrong today. I know I'm going to do something.
I love it.
I love you. All right. Kim.
You've been around, Charles.
Yeah, you guys from Charles to Charles. Kim, give me a moment of inspiration.
Yeah, this is a time where a lot of people, I think, are feeling lonely, and to combat that loneliness, I encourage everybody to connect as much as possible. Pick up the phone, that device we were talking about before, and reconnect with loved ones and family members and people, maybe new contacts, form new meetup groups, where you can start creating new tribes for yourself. We need to stay connected. Just because we are supposed to have
we
social...
only have 1 more minute and then we're not connected to the airwaves anymore. You guys, thank you to Kim and Charles and Linda and Charles. Thank you guys so very much. What you're going to do when you listen to this broadcast, you're going to take a moment, you're going to breathe. You're going to practice gratitude. You're going to call somebody that you love, remind them how special they are, and go out and make it a phenomenal week. I'll be right back here next week on the Forbes Factor. My name is Forbes Riley.
Tell Josh we pray for him every day.
Oh, well, I love you guys both so very much. Go to Shop Forbes Riley right now. Please help support not only the charities that they're into, but your own human body. You can beat this. Lots of love, you guys. Bye.
Bye.